This is easy.
What is up, Goat World? Artsncrofts here, bringing you our Week 2 coverage of the GOAT Format War League Season 7. With me today, I have guest host AJTBLS. AJT, say hello to the good people.
Hello, thank you very much for having me on the channel, and kudos to you for covering a very intriguing and exciting so far War League season.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining me. We're going to start off with a brief Week 1 recap. So, in front of us here, I have the Blue Conference. So some interesting results here in Week 1. I think probably the biggest headliner matchup was Bads getting the upset over Elite Four, one of the super teams in the league so far this season, and who people think are definitely a title contender. AJT, kind of what are your thoughts there on how that matchup went?
Yeah, I mean, if somebody told me at the start of the week if I had to go through and pick, like, let's say you're doing like NFL week pools, right, where you just put a check mark next to a team who wins, and you kind of ignore the spreads, let's say, like, -7 or whatever, like you just ignore all that, you just pick who you think's going to win the week. I definitely would have check marked Bads, as sorry, not Bads. I would have check marked Elite Four, as would have probably 95% of the players in the league. So this was definitely a major upset. It's pretty surprising, considering just how good the players are in Elite Four. But at the same time, we're in Season 7. Teams have all gotten better since Season 1, and the average player has gotten a lot better too. So upsets can happen, man.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I did want to touch on, I think Bads made a pretty good call in that they brought a lot of like weird sort of rogue combo lists. Like I know Nessa Puliata loaded up Empty Jar and got a win for the week against reigning world champion Alvarado. What are your thoughts on the validity of kind of the strategy of bringing these sort of coin flippy decks against maybe the better skilled teams to kind of reduce a little bit of the skill element from it?
I think it's a great idea. I remember speaking to KP back in 2020, actually, and we were just kind of talking about, okay, how would a new player, let's say a player maybe started like a month ago, he knows the rules and stuff, but is just not the best, go against like someone like KP or someone at the time, really, really strong. And the best deck to bring is something that you can high roll and sack, because if you want to go in a Chaos Turbo Mirror against Alvarado or Ghost Rider or Ivan, and you're not as talented as them. I mean, you're going to make mistakes, and they just won't. So as the game goes longer, if you don't kill them early, you're probably going to lose. Because I mean, the Trinity cards, eventually they'll draw them too, right? So it's best to just bring a deck where you could kind of reduce the amount of interactions your opponent can have, and just kind of try to high roll a win instead of trying to play fair in quotations. Something like that is a good idea if you're a big heavy underdog, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bad's utilizing that strategy to great success. Going down the other matchups for the week. Damage Step 3-2 over at Battle Oxen. Nice little Game 5 matchup there. Did anything kind of stand out to you with the rest of these results? I know Bad's is kind of the major upset. Everything else, I think, probably went according to plan, quote unquote. But any other thoughts you have here?
I think that the win over Fisherman was surprising a little bit. 4-1 specifically. I know Fisherman's pretty good.
Notably, that was the feature war in our week 1, and we managed to cover the only fisherman win in that in that set, surprisingly. So Spiral did take that game down over the reigning MVP Rete, but looks like Graves, the 13th Grave, got the sweep otherwise to take it down 4-1.
Yeah, a little bit surprising there. Another one, not really a surprise, but shout out to the Blackluster Serbs getting it done. That's I'm happy to see that they came back, and they have a fun fact in their community in Serbia there that they play goats. They're so enthusiastic about the game, and it's so nice to see how much of a worldwide presence the league is getting. So shout out to them.
Yeah, and they have such a big local scene there that they were able to just like swap out I think like half the team in the off season. And Captain, I mean, take it with a grain of salt, says that it was upgrades in pretty much every respect. So really deep pool of talent there in the region, and cool to see them starting off the season with a dub there.
Yeah, really cool.
All right, moving on to the Red Conference, a little bit closer to home for you, of course, making the big offseason move over to the Bomb Squad. Before we hop into the records and the results, would love to just get your thoughts on, kind of what led you to join the Bomb Squad organization and how you think, the season has been going for you guys so far.
Okay, great question, and I appreciate you asking. You know, I've played on now three, or actually technically four teams. I started in season one with Rampage regular, then I got swapped over to Rampage HK. We ended up winning that. Season two, I made my own team, Safari Zone. We won the league. Season three, we tried to run it back and lost. I believe in season four, we then had so much interest uh, in Safari that we made Safari Red, Safari Blue, and then we kind of went our own ways in season five. And season six, kind of the same thing, and now we're here in season seven, right? So, I don't want to say I've been a journeyman. I've been kind of always doing, on my own team or leading my own thing. Last season, I played for the Unknown team. It was kind of a project that we tried. It was a last minute team, and I played with Merck as the captain there. And this season, man, I don't know what it was. I haven't really been playing as much major tournaments, and I did not want to run my own team as I didn't in season six, and neither did Mercenary. So we were just advertising that we want to play, we want to be, on a team, higher end team here. And Jay Harris, the guy from Boston, really cool guy. Met him a couple times at the GGPs. Messaged me and I said, listen, I'm a package deal. I'm coming with Mercenary. Hopefully you guys get 2 free spots and hopefully that's okay with you. And he's like, you know what, bro? Honestly, I was going to ask Mercenary to join anyways. So you two can definitely join, and that's how it was. And I know a lot of the guys in the Bomb Squad roster from before. Really cool group of guys, and I've met a lot of them in person. Um, happy to be there, and shout out to even Dale, kind of our hidden weapon here. He hasn't played yet, but maybe he will. And I know he's busy with the mouse, but that's another great guy and good friend of mine.
Yeah, awesome. Makes total sense to me. I don't know if you caught our kind of preseason video that I did an interview with Gulaz and Shifty about kind of where we expect all the teams to rank at the end of the season. A lot of the or both of them said that you guys were definitely title contenders this season, and the strong start to the season definitely kind of bears that out. But the one question mark they had was with so many strong players on the roster, how would you guys manage, who gets to start week to week, different competing egos potentially? Would you want to go a little bit into kind of how you see the team, fleshing that out in the long haul?
Yeah, that's a great question, and you can kind of see, conflicting egos possibly being a problem in historic seasons, and also maybe this season. I actually don't think it really applies to a lot of the players on our team. A lot of our guys are selfless. I mean, I know I'm speaking for myself, especially, and Mercenary. I told Jay Harris at the beginning of the season, I said, "You start me when you feel like I'm the best player to start." I mean, I can play 2 decks very, very well, maybe three. But if you feel like it's too much of a counter pick, or I'm in a slump, sit me. I don't care. And I think that you have to just enter teams with that you want to win. Trust your captain. Trust your captain. Let him pick it. It's hard enough to set a roster. I've been there before, so I get it. Mercenary gets it. A lot of the guys in our team get that. I want to say everybody gets that. So I don't want to say there's any ego. I always just say ride the hot hand. Somebody's winning. Keep them going, and go from there. So that's how we're kind of handling things as an organization. That's how Jay Harris explained himself. He even said he'll bench himself if needed, and that's kind of what we want to see in a captain. If you feel like you have a better guy and he's on the bench and he's hot, or let's say you Jay Harris hypothetically struggles against goat control, for example, and we're going against team goat control, he would know to sit himself. So that's something that we have going for us on bombs. I feel like it's a really strong core, and I feel like other War League teams should be acting the same way. Trust your captain.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds really great. And yeah, to your point, lots of veterans on the team who have been in successful orgs before, and so I think they kind of know what a successful formula looks like, and good to hear that things are going well so far. So jumping in just to the week one results. So, you guys, I think resoundingly got the only 5-0 record in week one up against Generation X, which is the damage step kind of team two. How do you feel coming out of that pretty, statement win in week one?
It felt great. I mean, what I want to say, like 5-0 was definitely way over expected value. I think we were definitely expecting to win. We would have been happy even with 3-2, but you know how tight tiebreakers get at the end of the season. If it does come down to that, winning 5-0 really does help later for tiebreaker purposes. But I don't want to say we got lucky, but I mean, if you review my match, which is not even really a match, I just completely high rolled my opponent. I opened everything, and as did a lot of my teammates. So obviously we played well, but we had a lot of really good cards too. So take the 5-0 with a grain of salt. It is GOAT format here. Everybody's pretty decent. Statement win for sure. Not taking it away from our guys, but we just need to continue with that energy.
Yeah, absolutely. And scrolling down the rest of the list, I feel like another kind of blockbuster match of week one was Skull Servants, one of the two Bones Generations teams, versus returning Team Canada, formerly known as the Chaos Kings. Skull Servants squeaking by with a 3-2 win there. How do you think this is going to kind of bear out the rest of the season with the defending champions making an interesting move to kind of split up the org, split up that talent pool? And then also Team Canada sitting out a season, but still showing that they do have some chops against some of the better players in the league.
I mean, I know a lot of the Team Canada guys personally. Like, I mean, I'm from Canada. I know them. They're in the Toronto area. Love those guys are killers, man. I mean, that's a tough matchup. I don't want to go against Team Canada ever. I mean, we're going to play, but I mean, that's a tough team, right? It's not a freebie, and you have Skull Servants being the sister organization or the new divided team there. So that's another blockbuster team. I think Team Canada might not get enough. Worldwide or league-wide respect because maybe they just don't know how good these guys are.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not surprised to see it go down to 3-2 here. Team Canada is very tough, and if I had to pick a team that had maybe the slight edge, I'd probably give it to the Skull Servants. But tough week.
Yeah, makes total sense. And the other one I wanted to point out here, maybe a little bit of foreshadowing of things to come, but Masters of Oz, a very solidly, I think they were like the 4 or the 5th seed coming out of the regular season, making it to the playoffs last year. Didn't change the roster at all, so ran it back with the same 6 or 7 players. But falling in week one to Birdcage, who was not a playoff team last season, kind of barely bubbled there. Do you think there's a little bit of a shakeup here in where we think these teams will end up this season, or is this just kind of a one off?
No, I think that Masters of Oz will bounce back. I think Birdcage will kind of be, if I had to predict it, they'll probably be in like the same kind of position. Either they're going to squeak into the playoffs or maybe bubble out or something like that. And I think Oz will secure a playoff spot. I think it's just it's too early to make those calls.
Yeah, sounds good. And then lastly, before we hop into your feature match, um, your week two opponents are Laus Nova, who did squeak by with a 3-2 win versus new organization Baguette Control. We can talk about this a little bit more in a second as well, but what's your read on Laus Nova this season, and what was kind of your mindset going into this week two matchup after they got their win in week one?
Strong team. A lot of the research was done by other guys. In the Bomb Squad organization. So I just kind of read the scouting report done by our guys. They have some premier players that I know about. Tough. They come with a mix of decks. They got Reasoning, they got Turbo, they got a whole bunch of other stuff that they've shown they've played. We watched the replays against Baguette Control. It was interesting. Not much to say. Just had to prepare for the week. There wasn't too much in depth there. I know they won 3-2. It wasn't anything anything spectacular to discuss.
Sure. Yeah, sounds good. And so without further ado, let's pull up your list that you submitted against your matchup against EvoDream. Of course, you didn't know that going into the week. You just knew you were playing against Laus Nova as an org. So pretty standard Chaos Turbo for the most part. You got the triple Dust Shoot main and the Kaiku. So definitely a little bit of Chaos Turbo pre, if I had to guess. Was that kind of what you were aiming for?
Yeah, Chaos Turbo pre and also Reasoning pre. I mean, Kaiku against Reasoning is just a beater that beats over Crane and turns off some of their cards, and it's Kaiku. It's nothing crazy, but it's a good card, and I think it's better in the main deck than in the side for weeks that you're expecting a lot of Chaos Turbo or Reasoning. It's a decent card. It's also okay against Warrior. I typically when I run 21 monsters, I'm going to have 3 Koichis and not a Kaiku main. But this week I felt like because of how much pre they might do. They might even main deck a Mind Control or something similar. I'll main deck a Kaiku here. So that was kind of my trade.
Yeah, a little bit of counter intelligence there, if you will. And
Yeah.
yeah, as you mentioned, reasoning gate definitely something you can expect out of Laus Nova. I presume that is kind of what helped inform the Karibo and the Spirit Reaper in the side as well. But was there anything else like specifically that you changed from your usual list for this week, or was everything else relatively standard?
Yeah, I actually allowed not allowed, but I had Mercenary kind of make me a list here. I just trusted him and trusted his research, and I think I made a couple of adjustments. I usually don't run Karibo, but I think Karibo is really slept on against Reasoning specifically. Mind you, I mean, like it's one of the best cards against Reasoning. It's just you have to be pretty certain that you're going to be potentially facing it because it's kind of dead against everything else. Uh, that was just kind of the only interesting thing in the side would be the Karibo. I like the judgments. I like the Sakus against warriors and the judgments against warrior. Extra Regeki break in the side for when you're against burn. Dust Tornado for the burn. Mystic Walks for the burn. Mind Control for the mirror. Reaper for reasoning, and maybe going second in the mirror match with the Mind Control. Maybe warrior as well, and then got the Karibo and the two kinetics for warrior and I guess burn as well. So I feel like this is kind of a Swiss Army knife list. You know, you got your Chaos Turbo here, and you got room to make some plays.
Sweet, yeah, sounds great. So without further ado, let's hop in to the feature match here. So of course we'll be watching it from your POV, and I'll just be kind of walking through and letting you know if I have any questions. All right.
Sounds good.
So here, opening off, pretty solid hand opening TD duo shoot. Now, very controversial question in the community. Are you team duo before shoot or shoot before duo? Does being potentially blind, I don't know how much scouting you did on Evo specifically and what they like to play, how does that factor into the decision here? What are your thoughts?
My scouting on Evo was that it was going to be a mirror match. I know he's quite good and he's pretty well renowned in his area. So I literally always use shoot before I duo. It allows for a higher chance of a blowout and a higher chance of actually getting a +1 duo. I don't do it if I know I'm against warrior or against burn, someone who can set their whole hand. So the duo might be dead. I'm always team shoot before duo for the most part. So that's what I did here.
Makes sense to me. And yeah, so you fire off that Thunder Dragon as expected. And I assume it's just, yeah, set spy, set the dust shoot, and then probably set the break too. Yeah, because you have the Sinister
Yeah.
in hand. Makes sense to me. And now let's get a little bit of intel off of this dust shoot. And so you immediately get to confirm that this is a mirror match. Dust shoot targets are, of course, both the Koichis plus the Night Assailant. No real discard fodder for the Night Assailant, so I have to assume you're not too worried about that. Is there any... I assume you sent back Deco here?
No, I actually sent back Night Assailant, and we could talk about it here. So if I send back Night Assailant, this is going to force him to use the Nobleman, set Koichi, set both jars, and then in his hand he'll just have Koichi. So what we'll do is depending on our draw for turn, if we could find a way to beat over that Deco, he'll draw into 2 cards, and then we can duo him for 2. Like if
Right.
we draw Tribe, we could beat over the Deco. He'll draw, he'll think he's fine, and I'll delinquent both cards. So that was kind of my idea here. Leaving the Night Assailant is an issue as well because if I let's say I send back 1 train, right, and he leaves himself with just NA in hand. If I use delinquent, he could chain both jars, and now his chances of drawing a flip become quite high. So I think sending back the NA just because we have the duo and he has 2 draws is the right play.
Yeah, no, that actually makes total sense to me. I completely forgot that we hadn't do it yet. Yeah, so pretty much immediately getting rewarded for shooting before using duo because you get to send back their insulation against the card. So yeah, definitely sounds like a plan to me. NA is going to get sent back. You get knocked, of course. Let me go hide the hand. But of course, we kind of know what the play is going to be.
We also have like Regeki break set, so we don't like if we can't find a way to clear the deco by battle, we can just pop it. So there's another aspect there.
Yeah, that makes absolute sense to me. And then, as expected, Evo just goes set deco, set both jogs. You draw a Jar of Greed for turn. Now, unfortunately, you don't really have any way of doing the play that you were talking about where you try and go for the, beat over deco, have them draw to two, and then
Yeah.
you get max value off of the duo. So are you just kind of playing this slow with like a set jar of greed or something? Is there a world where you want to Raigeki break the Dekoichi? How are you thinking about this
I think
turn?
you I think you do Regeki break to Koichi because what's going to happen is he's going to draw +1, keep the deco, attack your serpent. That's if your serpent doesn't get nobleman or whatever. So I think that you do want to pop it. I would hold the deco in your hand. I mean, I would hold the duo in my hand because you know he has deco again. So maybe you can give yourself another chance to make the play. And he also might fire a jar. So I think you just stand by phase, pop the deco, add back your serpent, set jar, pass.
Sounds good to me. See it all play out here. Yep. Grab back the serpent, of course. Nice little standby phase, sinister serpent tricks there. And then, some people would maybe consider not setting the serpent here, but one knock is already used. Is there a world where you hold it in hand and just try and keep it kind of safe, or are you just worried about blocking the damage now that the serpent is known?
Well, the serpent's known. We get to block the damage, and also now we are turning on a tribute for the Thunder Dragon to do the play of beating over the Deco in the future. So we're setting ourselves up for a tribute next turn to run over the Deco. He gets 2 cards in hand, and then we duel him.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what Evo chooses to do. There's a could potentially be playing around Dust Shoot here, of course, with the double jogs, maybe drawing up to 4. I'm just going to go ahead, set a monster. Of course, on the screen we can see it's Dekoichi, but doesn't necessarily have to be. And now
Right.
the play that you were, saying has kind of come to fruition. We can go tribute summon for the Slender Dragon, unless you're worried about it being some other monster, I guess. But the read is probably still that it's Dekoichi, if I had to imagine.
Yeah, the read still it's to Koichi. I mean, both three spies are banished. So I mean, what's the worst case scenario it can be? It's gonna be a Night Assailant. I'm okay with that. I think it's like 85% of the time just to Koichi, maybe even higher.
Yeah, I guess the one consideration is maybe if it's like Sangan, they could go and grab Serp of their own, and then your duo gets worse. So I'm not sure what you do here. Do you duo before you go for the play, or do you wait till after the potential Dekoichi draw to fire it off?
I think we do draw of greed first, see what we draw,
Fair.
and then go from there. Because things will change. So let's see what we decide.
Oh,
I'd actually just go duo.
sure.
So take that back. I guess we just confirm that he's set to Koichi. So sucks that he drew Serpent, hard drew it. But I guess I didn't go with the plan, but it's fine.
Yeah, and you snipe a Snatch Seal as well, which is just a good card to know that you don't have to deal with anymore, of course. Now you can fire off that jog, draw into Upstart, fire that one off, and now we've got a Magician of Faith with some, not so great options yet. I mean, the duo could be live in the future, but probably not something. I'm guessing you still probably go for the Tribute Summon for Thunder Dragon
Yeah,
play here.
I'm still clearing this. I got to clear the deco. It's got to go.
Makes sense. And of course, the other
It's got to
back
go.
row's jog, so no reason to Heavy Storm here.
He's in quite rough shape. I mean, if we just look at this position here, he's going to draw from the Deco. Deco's going to die. He's going to use his jars and add his serpent. So on his turn here, I mean, he's down so many cards. We have a serpent in the graveyard. We have a faith eventually that can recycle. He already burned through a nobleman. This is a really good spot to be in my opinion. So I like the current spot that we're in.
Totally. And yeah, you're going to get to wipe out the board. You have a nice big threat here. Evo's trying to churn through the deck, try and find some answers. But we'll see if they do. Fire off that Jar of Greed, of course, into Upstart. So both players really just thinning the deck as much as possible. You go up to a nice, healthy 9,000 life points. And Evo
This
finds,
hurts, obviously.
yeah, the Graceful Charity with the Serpent, of course, known in hand. And yeah, things could start getting a little bit scary. Ooh, and they find the Night Assailant as well to pop back the deco. So just a nice little +2 off of this Graceful Charity feels pretty nice.
Yeah, this hurts. Obviously, now he's in the driver's seat, right? And now with the TDs, he's actually going to be up in cards because on our turn we're going to draw and we're going to add back Serpent. We'll be at 6, and he's already at 6, and he has a draw for turn. So, not great.
Yep. Ooh, and to add insult to injury, there's the big man
Yeah,
himself coming down.
yeah, this is now horrible.
Yeah, absolutely. And you take a big chunk of damage. Your board is cleared. You don't really have anything, at least in the hand right now, that can deal with the BLS. Ooh, and they can play around Snatchu with the Tsukuyomi. So yeah, you were in a good spot, but Graceful Charity had other plans, I guess, and now
So
you're
when
quite
he
far behind.
souked this down, though, I remember in real time, I'm like, okay, so he soaks it down. I have some outs to this BLS. I actually have more outs to it being down than up, being two noblemans in my deck. I could draw a discard trap. I can draw something just to answer it. I am low here, but let's say we draw a discard trap or we draw a nobleman. The play is just going to be nobleman, set moth, add serpent, whatever. So again, like this is a crucial draw here. We need to hit or else the game is just going to slip away. So I remember in real time, I was like thinking of my outs. Tribe's an okay out, but then again, the Sook's just going to clear it. We're going to take a little bit of chip damage from attacking in the defense. Nobleman, Tribe, Geki, Mirror, I guess that'd be our only outs. So we need to hit.
Yeah, and we'll see. Find a Sangan, not exactly what the
Yeah,
doctor ordered, and
it's a brick.
yeah, unfortunately, I feel like at this point it's probably just. I mean, Evo could play as slow as they want, but it's hard to come back from letting your opponent, have their BLS survive for multiple turns. It's probably pretty
Yeah,
close to
now it's
GG.
just T set, pray to draw, try to buy another turn. You got a bluff set here, or else you could you could die. So that's what you have to do.
Yep, makes
And
sense.
you give him something to banish away. Just give him the serpent. You need to keep your dark in your hand. It's definitely a losing situation, but we gotta maximize our odds of surviving.
Totally, yeah, and yeah, good call out there. Do not have a dark engrave yet. Of course, if this BLS gets flipped face up at any point, you do have like Crash Sangan into BLS plays to get that live. If you happen to top deck a Chaos Monster of your own, so yeah, definitely sounds like a good line of attack. And Evo draws into Pot of Greed, so this is looking like all she wrote here for game one. But we'll see how Evo
Yeah,
plays
this
this one
is
out.
probably 95% chance, or maybe not 95. It's a little high. Maybe 90% chance Evo wins here. So
Yeah, and they go for the safe play, playing around a potential Night Assailant by just banishing your set, going up another card, and then poking you for 11. Playing it nice and slow, you're up a million cards, and they're at 9,000 life points, so probably no reason to play it super risky here. Makes sense to me.
nope. Only way I'm gonna win this is through a Trinity draw, specifically on this turn.
Yep, and they even are discarding to hand size.
Struggling from success.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you draw Tsukuyomi, looking like just another little bluff set turn here.
This one you got to set Sook just in case he does decide to go attack. You need to make yourself get one more draw again.
Yep, makes sense. And then Evo here, probably going for the same exact play. Rinse
Yeah,
and
same play.
repeat. If it ain't broke,
It's decent damage. It's good pressure. He does set, so
could get some value off the heavy here.
yeah, could just need a Trinity piece. We actually draw it out to the BLS.
That's pretty nice. Better late than never, I guess. So you
Yeah,
interestingly, oh wait, sorry, never mind. Your Sinister was banished, right? So at least you do have the Thunder Dragon in hand as discard fodder. So now that your monster isn't guaranteed to just get banished by the BLS next turn, you haven't seen, a knocker like a Minecon in a while. Is it time to just kind of like YOLO set the faith and hope you can get a little bit more value
I think
here?
so.
Yeah.
We're down so much that we literally need to set the faith. I mean, best case scenario is that he T sets back and then we draw pot and we can maybe get a double pot off of the faith, but we definitely have to set faith here. We are so behind that like who cares if he has mind control? You're gonna lose anyways. So just set the faith and pray, and if it gets run over, just take upstart and hope it hits.
Yeah, totally. And you go for the little pro heavy activation here, trying to sneak a little +1. We'll see if it resolves. Both jogs were used, so pretty likely that this plus is right.
Yeah. Yeah, gotta use it because just in case like he had Regeki break set or something, he'll just pop your back row and it'll be game. So have to use the storm there.
Yep, makes sense. And now you're just gonna go T set with the faith, presumably.
I have no other play.
Yep. And now, yep, standby phase. Pop the BLS and hope you live.
Yep, hope you live.
Chaos Sorcerer might have other thoughts there. Dekoichi as well. This isn't lethal yet, so interesting play from Evo. Trying to play it a little bit quicker now.
When
Uh,
he did this, I already knew he had ring. There's no way he's
ah,
doing it without it.
very, very good call. Grab the upstart, just trying to dig for Trinity, but yeah. Dekoichi put you down to 1,000 and then ring for game. You don't draw Book of Moon, and it's just basically it, right?
He does it in the end phase as well, which is like just in case I had book, he just does it in the end phase. He literally can't mess this up. So
Totally.
uh, here we go. Set both, pass, and
And
there we go.
yep, there we have it. So game one, you are now down in the hole. Was pretty close early on until that pretty catastrophic graceful charity activation. I feel like, but I think you played to your outs as best as you could, and sometimes your opponent just lets gets to have a BLS that lives for 3 turns, and you're in an insane hole that you can't come back from.
Yeah, I think that we didn't make any mistakes, and neither did he. So just a game one that chalk it up to variance. I think we were in a very advantageous spot that slipped away.
Yeah,
Happens.
happens to the best of us. Now going into the side, I know. I guess we can go look at your list a little bit here. Minecon, I presume, comes in unless you only like it going second or something like that. But other than that, I mean, what other changes do you really have to make to your 40?
You're going first. You're against a quite a good player. He's probably not going to give you a plus off of TT. Probably won't even give you a plus off heavy. This is something where you can even side out the storm. You're against that type of caliber of player. He's probably not going to give you the plus. You're going first. You could just keep your MST. I like a side of mind control. Mind control for sure in. Removal probably torrential. If you really want to be spicy, you could take out the storm and add the third Regeki break and go from there. When you're in that higher end caliber type turbo mirror, nobody wants to give anybody any room, anything. Nobody wants to give an inch. So it's rare to get a 2-for-1 heavy. I know I got one in the previous game, but that was kind of a different situation. He was discarding for hand size. So third break could have more utility. That's probably what I did. I just put in 2 cards.
Yeah, as a garbage time heavy, essentially, right?
Yeah, it
Um,
was like chump heavy +1. Who cares?
yeah. Now, I did actually forget to bring this up earlier on. No card destruction anywhere in the 55. Was that an intentional choice for the specific week, or are you just not a fan of the card in Turbo?
So Ivan's got me on card destruction right now. He showed me the math on it. I think it's a mistake. I should have card destruction in here. I've been messing with it now because now we're talking about a game that's like I guess 10 days old.
True.
As of like 10 days ago or a little longer since deck submission, I've been playing card D. I think it's a mistake. I should have card D in here. So it's okay. I mean, I think it's a little bit overhyped right now, but I could see its merits.
Yeah, sounds good. And that's for all you folks out there who thinks the meta never changes. Sometimes turbo players swap in and out one card, and that's really exciting, guys. Come on.
Yeah, very exciting stuff here.
All right, so hopping on into game two. Of course, you will be going first once again. We'll see what you open. So once again, opening that Thunder Dragon, got to be pretty happy to see that. And you open TD Pot, not too
Monster
bad.
hand.
Yeah, can't beat this. So it's just gonna be TD, upstart, reevaluate, but probably firing off the pot after that, if I would guess.
Yep.
And let's see, you find Gravekeeper Spy, nice little turn one play. See what Pot of Greed finds us.
Yep.
And then Snatch and the second Spy. All right, not too crazy. So obviously you have three kind of choices here of what monster to open with. I know most people would probably just set the Gravekeeper Spy in this scenario, especially because you have the second one in hand. So you kind of want to make sure you get them out of your deck before they just become dead. But what are your thoughts here, and what do you think you end up going with?
I mean, all plays have merit. Historically, when I open like this and I already have the lights, I don't mind setting Faith because if he uses Nobleman, then he has to hard draw. He has to hard draw Thunder Dragon himself to get a light. So I wouldn't be surprised to see myself set Faith, just because we already have the light interaction. Setting Spy is not my favorite play here because we have 2 in hand. So if he uses Nobleman, he'll know that we have 1 in hand that can't get another Spy. So it becomes kind of a vanilla. If I had to rank my preferences without seeing his hand here, I actually really like setting Faith. What's the worst that can happen? Obviously, him going nuts with Pot, then Duo, and then mind controlling, it would be backbreaking. But I'm really okay with a Nobleman here. I prefer Faith, then Deco, then Spy with this exact hand.
Sounds good. And you go for the
I
deco
went
here.
Deco. Yeah, maybe I was just a little bit scared. I think Spy is definitely the worst set in this situation. Um, Maybe I just was nervous that it could happen again. Like you have him and then he just kind of gets his way out. This is a safer play.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. Now, interestingly, turn one, we're already threatened to discard to hand size. So would you rather pitch a TD here, or are you bluff setting the snatch steal?
No, I think I'm hand discard.
All right. Yep, that's what we see. So Thunder Dragon not getting as much value as it maybe would in normal circumstances, but you got to resolve Pot of Greed this turn, so you'd probably take that trade any day, right?
Yep, I'm good with it.
And then Evo has Upstart of their own, so both players get to start the game at 9,000 life points. They've got Thunder Dragon too. Into a good old T-set pass. So unless you get Raigeki Break in the standby phase, your Faith probably would have gone through, but you get to top deck Graceful Charity for turn with Thunder Dragon in hand, with a potential maybe Dead Spy in hand. Looking pretty good. How do you kind of see yourself playing out this turn? Do you want to hold Graceful for a little bit? What is your normal
I
summon
think
looking
it's
like? Or yeah, what are your thoughts?
I think that we need to flip up the train first to see what we get, and then we'll go from there. But obviously, drawing Graceful's huge. See if we can make it through the standby phase. We're good. So our Deco's going +1.
And we draw into Shoot, which
Draw
is
shoot.
pretty
Yeah,
sweet.
this is huge now. I think you fire the charity.
Ooh,
We
the
get dust
hold
shot.
shoot for Evo. It's a little tricky, but definitely getting a little bit more value there now they know about the dust shoot.
Yeah, it's
Um,
fine.
and they send back the breaker, which makes you think that back row is
Real
probably
trap.
not chainable, right?
Yeah, makes you think it's like a real trap. It could be even Regeki break, but he just doesn't want me to have to. He doesn't want to have to be forced to use it. But it's something of value.
Yeah, and also notably, we can see that Evo has Night Assailant set. So if you go Summon Breaker, pop a real back row, and then beat over the Night Assailant, you're just getting like the cleanest +1 imaginable from that. So definitely makes
Yeah,
sense.
you just cash out.
Yeah, just knowing what we know about Evo's board at the moment.
When they send back breaker in this spot, you just know that that's set there. It's not Jar Greed. That's where you can confirm.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, now to your point, especially post Dust Shoot, when you want to get some of these known cards out of your hand. If you were maybe debating holding the Graceful before, I feel like now you probably are 100% guaranteed
Hundred
to just
percent
fire it
fire.
off. Yeah.
100% fire.
And let's see what we find. Shoot number 2, Nobleman of Crossout, and another Magician of Faith. Some pretty solid draws there. Double shoot could potentially get a lot of value next turn. The knock, of course, will be nice since your opponent set something. Discards are probably Thunder Dragon Spy, if I had to guess.
I
But what are
think
your
so.
thoughts? Yeah,
I think so.
just the most kind of superfluous cards in the hand at this
He
point.
know he knows you have them. And they're easy throwaways in this spot. So I mean, again, we're in a very very good spot here.
Totally. And now I imagine we're gonna knock poke for
Yeah,
14
you
and
have to.
then choose what we're setting. Do you think,
Yep.
kind of like before, I guess at this point, is Spy a better set now that you don't have the other one in hand?
Well, if you look at our hand texture here in his graveyard, right? So first, once we nobleman and we see that it's not spy, I think that we should be setting faith because if he mind controls now and he mind controls your faith, who cares? I mean, the problem is if he mind controls your spy, you don't really have a way to get over it. It also gives him access to a dark. You'd have to use your snatch steal. So I think setting faith would be a better play in this spot. But let's see what we do. I mean, it could go either way. It's close.
Yeah. Poke for 14.
Yeah, he'll take it for sure. We do.
Set both shoots. Set the
Yeah,
faith, yeah.
cool.
Just as we dreamed it up, right? End phase, a shoot gets popped. Not the end of the world because we have a little bit of redundancy there. And now you get it to peek at the hand. And let's
Yep.
see what we find. Double TD, of course, known. Looks like they top decked Duo for turn, I would have to imagine. And then you see Kaiku and Sangan. So Kaiku obviously kind of annoying in this spot because they could take your. I guess if they beat over the Dekoichi, you're just swapping the Spy for the Deco for Dark, so that's not the end of the world. But Kaikuits are always a little bit scary. I guess it's a good snatch steal target though, so maybe you're fine
Yeah,
with
the
that.
snatch is going to resolve no matter what because even if he duos it away, we could just flip it up and get from Faith. I think the send should be Sangan here because Sangan eventually will get him a spy, which will get him in the game. So I think the send is Sangan, and let's see what we do. And he knows we have snatch as well, right? So
Mm,
it's possible once he uses his duo, he might not even bring the Kaiku himself.
yeah. So you can almost just completely brick the hand by sending back the Sangan here. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's just over. The hand is over. You now have this Kaiku, which is going to get a plus if you choose to bring it, but it's not looking great.
Yeah. And we'll see Evo gonna fire off that duo, of course. Now they probably haven't. I know one of the faiths was known, so even if they do hit the snatch, to your point, they could know that it's not completely gone. Hits the spy though, which is
Pitches
probably best option for you. Um,
pitches faith 100%.
yeah, makes sense. You already got one on the board. Now it is known that snatch is in the hand, and Evo's just gonna pass. Not even worth running out that Kaiku to just get stolen and
He can't.
completely destroy them.
He
Yeah.
can't. No, he just can't.
And now you're just free to faith grab back pot or graceful.
I
So
think it's pot.
in a yeah, you have no discard fodder for the graceful, right? So yeah, just get those free cards. Why not? And you're in a pretty solid position here, I do have to say. Sangan of your own, nice little low commitment way to add some damage to your clock, of course.
Yep.
And there's a world where you can search for like Serpent or something to make this break legal. So I'm guessing you just go Sangan, beat in with everything, and then maybe just set the ring, presumably.
I think set the ring is fine. Yeah. I mean, this is just kind of a wrap here. There's not really much he can do. Um, he'd have to top deck graceful. It's probably his best draw, and that's it. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
you
You
said the
can even set
Raigeki
both.
break as well. Yeah, I mean, with such with ring and what is this 2,700 points of damage on the board, right? You could
It
always
just doesn't
just
matter.
yeah, you can end phase Raigeki break if he draws like some back row to be annoying, and you just have lethal, right? So
Yeah, it doesn't matter. If he draws storm, he's dead. Like
yeah,
if
exactly,
he draws heavy storm, he loses the game. So
makes sense. Kaiku comes
yep,
down, just ring it, I guess. Why not?
I think so. Yeah, no reason to play fancy.
Yep,
That's
1,800 points, and now you have lethal on board for
that's game.
sure. They pass
Yeah,
turn, and you can Raigeki break just like we said, and yeah, pretty quick game two there. I mean, you opened pretty absurdly, but you closed it out pretty efficiently from there. Um, yeah, and I think the key play was dust shooting back that Sangan just left Evo with absolutely no good options at all that game, and you just took it home from there.
Yeah, I mean, you could just let him keep the Sangan, but again, we don't really know what he's going to do with it. I mean, if he sets it, you just grab Nobleman, I guess, but you're slowing yourself down. Let him keep because you want to take back Pot. He was just in such a losing spot if you let him keep Kaiku. So that was the right send.
Yeah, absolutely. Now game three. Now that you're going second, do you think you're swapping anything up in the list? Does the Minecon get a little bit better? Perhaps. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I think Minecon gets better. Minecon gets a lot better going second. MST becomes worse. I think that you just swap probably, and Storm actually becomes better going second. Probably just put in the Mind Control, take out the MST, and then Torrential. Torrential going second in a mirror match isn't the best, but it just kind of comes down to, what other cards are you going to play?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, of course, Turbolist, especially this one where you're maining the three shoots and the Kaiku, already preed for this matchup a little bit anyway, so no surprise there aren't too many swap outs, even, with a different turn order. But Evo will be going first for the first time this match, so we'll see how you do playing a little bit behind tempo wise.
Not bad. It's my hand is vulnerable to a delinquent, it's vulnerable to a dust shoot. I love that we have the nobleman. So it could be worse, could be better.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, knock. Pretty insane card going second, of course, especially in this matchup. Evo's got
Yep.
TD plus Upstart, so churning through that deck, and they just go classic T set pass. We'll see if you make it to main phase one unscathed. Looks like you do. And the draw for turn is Ring, which isn't going to do too much right now. Um, Now, I guess you probably just fire off the duo before anything at this point. What about, because I know some people like to hold it when they know double TD is in hand. Do you just not care about that?
Don't care about it. I fire it. It's still cards, want to reduce, and I don't. I mean, I'm gonna end up using nobleman anyways. So, I want to fire my delinquent.
Yeah, makes sense. And especially, yeah, I guess you probably want to duo before knock because you don't want that. If they have like a dead spy in hand post
Yeah, I
knock,
don't
you don't
want to
want to
give him
give
that
them
knowledge.
exactly.
Correct.
And yeah, also just not to dwell on the point, super long, but the back row could very well be like a Raigeki break. So even if all this duo does is remove both Thunder Dragons, it's still pretty impactful because then they might have to discard a real card to that, right? So.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right, so let's see what we snipe with the duo. You hit a Thunder Dragon, so it is worst case, quote unquote, scenario, but, one card answer to Thunder Dragon's still probably worth 1,000 life points.
Yeah.
And then the knock comes down, strands your spy in hand, which is a bit of a bummer. And now you
So
have,
this is a crucial turn here. This
yeah,
is a crucial turn. He now knows we have a spy. You know, he very well has three real cards in his hand. He very well could have an answer to a face down monster. You know, this is kind of a elite level of thinking where you're kind of left with a decision. He knows you have this spy, which sucks. Um, that's the only thing he knows about your hand, and he has four real cards, drawing into five on his turn, presumably a way of answering a face down. Um, you have two options here. You can go the set spy route and hope that he burns his removal, or you could set faith and pray to God that he reads the reads the situation and he's like a thinking player and he's like, oh, I'm not going to use my removal here, and maybe we can sneak a faith through and get the delinquent again, which could end the game.
yeah, yeah, that makes sense. And so, yeah, definitely some high level mind games here. Really like how you kind of parse that one out because yeah, this definitely feels like probably the most crucial turn here. Because I mean, your hand isn't great, right? If this faith doesn't resolve, you've got dead BLS, you've got a vanilla spy, you've got a ring with both players at full life. So yeah, I mean, with that being all said, it feels like yeah, you just kind of have to play and hope you can resolve this faith, and then go from there.
We are in a losing spot
Yep.
currently. We have, you know, we're we're down in cards. He knows we have a spy. We need to make a move, and this is one where we can maybe sneak one through. If we resolve duo again, we're in a winning situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Evo here. Now I'm not sure. Maybe we can, for fun, peek at the hand to see if he has like Minecon or knock. Um, that has the Minecon. Okay, so now this is exactly what you were saying. This is the mind game, right? Because a very very high percentage of the time, this set monster is going to be the spy that is known, right? And so Evo's now finds them in a pretty tough spot as to what to do here.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't with that mind control. I mean, listen, you mind control and you take spy, now you could possibly lose. That's a hard neck one. If it's faith, again, it's kind of a lower risk to me because what are you going to take back mind control? Yes, that hurts, but again, like now I know you have mind control. So, um, it's a horrible spot to be in with that specific hand. Summoning breaker seems loose, so I think that he made the right play in terms of quotations here. But now back onto us.
Yeah, and you managed to sneak this faith through. Let's go grab Delinquent
Dark.
Duo.
This dark draw is massive too.
Ooh, yeah, very, very good point. Um, yeah, especially one that you don't really need to like set either. Yeah, so
We're
we put
taking we're taking taking delinquent. Taking delinquent. We know spies are gone. The breaker can beat over anything that's set now. So taking delinquent.
yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah, because knock, some people would definitely grab the knock here, but what face downs are you really super duper worried about, especially with the spies gone? Like you said, not really too much. And now let's get a nice little plus here. You hit the Minecon, which is I'm sure pretty awesome to see that you knew that you skirted by this turn by the skin of your teeth, right?
Yep.
And then you
Yep.
hit
We're
the
summoning breaker here. I
yeah,
think.
you hit torrential as well, which maybe a little bit suspect to see post side and smear, but I know some people like it. And yeah, to your point, breaker looking pretty good here. You can beat over whatever it is. Poke for some damage. Worst case scenario, it gets ringed or something, and then you get your dark engrave. So you're probably pretty happy there as well.
Yep. Yep. 100%.
You pop that Raigeki break, like we said before. So that was the back row from turn one. So duo ripping out the Thunder Dragons looks a lot better, and it helped you force through this Magician of Faith, whereas otherwise Evo could have pretty realistically just gone Raigeki break, discard Thunder Dragon, pop it if they were worried about like Minecon being a card or Minecon getting
I
blocked or
think if I
something.
don't delinquent there, he just does it. Like, what's the worst case scenario? He pops the known spy. Who cares? That's fine for you. Eventually, you're gonna have to deal with a 2,000 defender anyways. So if I don't use delinquent there, he just fires the Regeki break. It's done.
Yeah, totally, totally. And now, like we just talked about, Breaker can go run over the set. It's just a Sangan, searches up Sinister Serpent, which can be a little bit annoying, but Faith actually kind of gets over it, so you can pressure life points. It's not like it's an infinite clock blocker like it is in,
Yeah,
in certain matchups or on certain board states.
get him for 3 and pass turn.
Yeah, and now you can see, I mean, where were we a turn ago, right? Praying that a faith was going to resolve, and otherwise we're just losing. and now you snuck it through, you resolved duo, you got a little bit of pressure on board, and now it just flipped completely into, a pretty solidly winning position, I would have to say.
Hmm. I agree.
Now Evo Going Breaker of their own has the age old decision. Well, I guess you set ring. Um, I guess no need to just fire it off right now. You can just wait to see if he wants
Zero
to.
reason.
Yeah,
Zero reason. See if we can blank his battle phase.
yeah, and even the extra 300 damage could actually be kind of nice, right? Since
Yep.
you're the one pressuring. Goes for it, and yeah, you just get the
Pop.
free. Yep, no reason to give them the extra cards.
No. No, God, no. We're 100% using it.
And then they set a back row, draw Sangan for turn. Once again, nice little low commitment
Beautiful.
clock booster, right?
Yep, beautiful. Summon it. I'd switch Moth to defense in this spot. Um, reason being is that he has Serpent. He can always just clear it. I know it gives us a light, but like, let's say he actually Mirror Forces here. What are we going to bring out? A naked BLS? I don't think so. Let's keep the body.
Makes sense. Yeah, and you can always top deck Sook or something and just go
Hmm.
absolutely crazy. So good to keep the faith around. And it's not like your life points are super healthy either. Like there's a
No,
world
we're in
where,
range. He has light and dark, right? So I mean,
yeah,
what we're going to attack and he just draws BLS and kills us? Not going to happen.
absolutely. Yep. And now we get to punch in for 26. Pretty good there. And yeah, you're just sitting pretty with a lot of aggression on board. And Evo's back is up against the wall. Finds a monster, sets it, back row as well.
Oh, we know the card is we know
Oh
that
yeah, we
sets
know it's
Serpent.
yes, totally.
With the draw that we get, which is kind of dead, I think the right play is just go for game, summon Spy, attack with Faith, everything goes.
Yeah, not to your point now. If stuff gets in the grave and you get to turn on,
He also doesn't have Snatch Steal. It's impossible. He can't just do this play on his turn with Snatch. You're too likely to just die. He could have Mind Control because there's nothing to Mind Control, but Snatch is gone. There's no reason for him to not snatch on his turn. I know it's a loot, like it sounds shitty, but that's how bad of a spot he's in right now.
yeah, that makes sense. And the torrential is gone, so no worries there. If they do have mirror force, like we said, suddenly unlocking your hand of two dead chaos monsters is a little
Yeah,
bit
I'll just
better
bring
than.
BLS and Banish.
Yep, absolutely. And so you go for it. Worst case scenario, you're still plussing off the BLS for the most part. And yeah, I mean, you just have all weenies and floaters here. So who really cares about Mirror Force from a card advantage perspective, right?
Doesn't matter.
Yep. And you
Nope.
pop over the Serpent and go for game. See if it connects. Sangan for the win. And there you have it.
Get it
Looks
through.
like the back row, yeah, Dead Jar and a Dead Heavy Storm. So yeah, just a couple cards that were a little bit too slow or not up for the task, I guess, here. Um, and yeah, very, very well played. The little reverse sweep there, the 2-1 victory. Uh, any thoughts on last couple turns here?
This one felt really good. Playing it in real time, I thought I played this well. You know, I feel like a lot of people could have messed up that turn with the Spy Faith. That was the game. That was the turn that decided the game. If we went the other route, we would have just lost. It's too slow, and we don't use the duo. It's too slow. So I felt like this one was pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely some very pivotal actions that could have gone the other way, but it ended up working out here. And yeah, I think you did a really good job of, especially on this last turn, identifying where let's just like throw everything at the opponent. Don't really care if they have outs to the
It
specific
just
board.
didn't matter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
just didn't matter.
Totally. Yeah, and it's it goes to show how important it is to just kind of figure out what's in your opponent's range. What are we there's tons of singleton cards in the format that you could potentially worry about, but what separates the good from the great players is knowing which ones to worry about in certain scenarios, and I think you really illustrated that well this match with walking through your thought process. So, really appreciate you taking the time today.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me on the channel, and looking forward to watching it and watching your future videos.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This is AJTBLS taking it down 2-1 in a classic Chaos Turbo Mirror match up here against EvoDream, solidifying a solid, one in the victory column for Bomb Squad in their Week 2 match. Thank you again, AJT, for being on here, and I will catch you all next time.